Howdy. So take this in for a moment. Hi. Welcome to Healing with Marcus. I am Marcus. It's lovely to see you on board. Thank you for being here. I use the Tingshasas today. These are called Tingsha. Tingshas. These are Tibetan bells that are helpful in bringing us into presence, bringing us into the now. They can be very helpful in the way that we are, if you just listen for the sound for just a moment, let that fill your whole mind, and then keep listening for the sound. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And for me personally, when this wonderful teacher named Eckhart Tolle, when he was using those about 13 years ago, I was listening to one of his videos, and it sucked me completely into the now, the absolute present moment. And when that happened, I was going through a lot of turmoil at the time. I'd gone through a major breakup, and many other things were going on at the same time, and it was a very, very painful time. So when I heard those bells and it sucked me into the now, I had an experience of the complete and utter stillness of this moment. And somehow, I know nowadays what happened, but I didn't know then. But somehow, all that pain was transmuted, and I was completely in the moment. Later, that pain returned the next day, and I had to find a way to consciously, on purpose, intentionally find my way back into the now. And at the time, I could do it by holding up my hand and starting to focus completely on the tip of my finger. All my energy, all my attention would go right there. And there would be a moment of break of the incessant stream of thoughts that I had going on. So either putting my hand up could help, or I could use the word stop or attention. And it would bring me completely into the now. And I know it's not going to work for everybody, but if it works for you, it's beautiful. It worked for me. So welcome on board, everybody. We have these weekly, I guess we could call them meetings of the soul, meetings of the spirit, in the spirit, where we connect deeply on the level of the quantum field. As we go into our healing session at the end of this talk, we usually sit together and we end up connecting deeply, and the sounds and the drumming that's working through me helps to remove and release energy inside of you and activate things inside of you, frequencies that help to elevate your level of consciousness. But we are already connecting when you are sitting here and you're taking in this moment. If you can release whatever problems you may have going on, whatever might be going on in your sphere, if you're able to release your day-to-day problems and focus in on that ever-present stillness that's beyond your thoughts. Thank you, Sierras and Sunsets. Good evening. Thank you. I love, yeah, they were right here. The bells were right here. And I realized that would be a lovely way to start this evening. So thank you for commenting on that. We are sitting in the energy of the full moon. And this is, of course, every full moon, they seem to come very rapidly right now, at least in my perception. And they are coming in with, almost every full moon is coming in with a higher intensity. And there's a higher level of clarity and energy every time. And some of the things that I've been picking up on, one was that we were going through a portal recently where we who consider ourselves either light workers or spiritual beings, or if you feel like you're a teacher or you feel like you're a student, either way, because we are all, of course, both, right? We are in a space of our growth, our spiritual awareness level, where we have a chance to level up. And we have a chance to level up, and really a lot of the teachings and the wisdom that you've been gaining and grabbing hold on to and making a part of your life, integrating into your being, can really, really help you elevate right now. And then there are, if others who aren't going to be able to fully integrate this, and they're actually going to fall down a little bit instead. There's always almost like there's a shift in the energies where if we are on a spiritual path right now, we have a chance to really level up. And if we aren't really truly paying attention to the spiritual journey, we may end up falling off instead. But it is still a beautiful, beautiful passage of high energy coming in, a lot of solar activity going on, a lot of goings on in the electromagnetic field with the stars in alignment, and the full moon coming in the full moon of Capricorn. And this full moon that's going on today, which I'm very happy when it falls on a Monday or any of these days just around our lives, because it just brings in a very strong energy. And in my both experience and what I've been picking up on, there was tons of what I would like to call it flow energy or creative energy going on this last week, where if you were able to tune in to yourself, if you were able to listen inwards, you might have been able to just kind of go with the flow more than previous times, more than before. Where when we can go with the flow and we can release all the thinking that's going on, right? Because I don't know about you, but my brain can be very active. It can be an overthinking brain. It can be analyzing, and it can actually, even though we're attempting to hold ourselves to higher standards, to a higher degree of consciousness, at times that can also hold us back from being in the flow, right? When the mind is super busy, even if it's busy with, I'm being spiritual, that's still mind. So if you can drop into your body and into your energy, the flow of life within you, you can sit in that energy flow and allow that to flow through you. And whatever you have as a creative outlet in your life, whatever you have as you're a painter, you're a drawer, you're a plant grower, an herbalist, your whatever your creative outlet is, you're a spiritual meditation guide. I write a lot. And I do when I don't sit in this healing space, which of course I always sit in the healing space, but when I don't do that, I also create entertainment movies and stuff like that. And it's been very, very flowing this last week. The energy has been extremely creative. And if we can drop away from the self-criticism, from the doubts, from all of those thoughts that can be in the way of our own creative flow, if you can align with what's coming through you, be it sexual energy, be it creative energy, they're very similar in nature. Allow it to flow through you. So instead of thinking, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to feel this way. Feel it. Let it flow. Let it flow. Get in alignment with your life force energy. So your attempts of being spiritual don't stop. Your attempts of, or your not attempts, or your don't the so that it doesn't stop your flow. Sitting in flow, allowing life to flow through you, becoming that expression of life, is really the true nature of all these teachings. And on many levels, it means we're becoming one with the original core energy in your body. So, as we sit in this flow of creative energy that's coming through, the juices are very, very happy right now. We're very much in flow, right? As we can sit in that, you can both feel joy coming up. You can feel a sense of, ooh, I'm kind of happy I'm alive. Ooh, I'm kind of happy I get to still be on this, in this physical plane, in this body, this vessel. And as we sit with that, as we sit in that flow, at least I've also experienced, and this is what happens around a lot of the full moon energy, when these insights come in for us, we also, if we are very clear, can begin to become the observer of the shadow. The shadow, just that part of our mind, part of our energy field, it's almost like a layer in our field that arises either when we're not in consciousness, the shadow is sort of active all the time. When we're living in fear, either fear of lack, fear of, for lack of anything, lack of finances, lack of love, lack of partners, whatever that lack might be, we are actually living in an active form of the shadow. But if we have experienced a level of flow, level of presence and consciousness, every now and then we'll all get triggered by different things that are reminders of whatever your past triggers have been. They might have been activated yesterday and today. And when they get activated, all the old defense mechanisms might just show up. This is part, it's a big part of our shadow. And as the shadow appears, if we're able to muster up a level of awareness, and we are able to sit in our meditation, we're able to, even if it feels like the whole world is shaking, it feels like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening again, whatever this might be. But whatever it is for you feels very familiar, I believe. I believe it feels like something you have experienced before. And if you can bring a level of awareness into that, if you can still sit and breathe into your body and sit with, oh my God, I don't know what's going on right now, but I feel like I'm in a different space, a different state than what I was yesterday or before this trigger happened. Because when those triggers pop up for us, whatever triggered you, it could be a political belief, it could be something your partner did, it could be something that shifted in your financial situation, whatever it might be that triggered you. It's usually something that's been going on previously in your life. And usually when it gets triggered, we have a chance to sit with it and see it. We can see when the shadow appears. We can see when this basically negativity or fear or defense mechanism appears and starts to kind of, in a way, I don't really like talking down to the shadow, but in a way we could say it rears its ugly head. But it's not ugly, right? It's beautiful. In a way, the shadow is really beautiful. It didn't come to be evil. Your dark side, my dark side, didn't come here to be evil. It came here to protect you and me from pain we experienced when we were little. Or it can be ancestral. It could be lineage. It's coming down through families. But whatever it might be, it's not here to play evil. It's here to protect you. And if you can recognize that this is a protective mechanism, that your ego has created a sense of self that can be threatened, a sense of like, oh God, if this happens, I'm done for. If this happens, my God, they can't do that to me, or that person, this can't happen to me, whatever that might be. When we can sit in that reaction, and instead of fully acting it out, because that's usually where the shadow becomes more of a reality problem, and we are actually keep it in place by reacting to the shadow, by reacting and acting it out. Because then we keep the same pattern alive in our system. And when we act out that negativity, if we yell at somebody, we cuss them out, whatever we might do, we are keeping that shadow and the ideas around the shadow, the whole belief system that is based in the defense mechanism, we're keeping it in place. And in a way, we could say we are not out of the karmic wheel. We are not able to escape our dharma. But if we are able to, when the shadow appears, when your negativity rears its ugly head and says, "Rrr, rrr, rrr, rrr," instead of saying that, you're sitting with it and you can observe your mind and you can be, okay, hang on. What is really going on right now? What am I feeling right now? Oh, I feel afraid. I feel scared of this or that. What kind of image is being painted in my mind? Oh, this is being painted. That is being painted. How can I stay present through that? How can I, instead of fully acting it out, release it through my system? Potentially embrace the shadow. Embrace it as in it's a part of us that came up to protect us. Originally, it came up to protect us because we didn't know anything else. It's not always an easy passage. The passage of facing your shadow can be extremely deep. And if you think it's easy, you may not have been able to face it yet. You may not have seen the whole shadow yet. And one of the things, it's not to say that we can't sit in our light, right? It's important to remember this is not going against anyone. If we want to sit in light, we want to sit in power, we want to sit in energy flow. But even when we do, there are times when most people get triggered. And as we get triggered, we need to be able to sit with it without going out there and going crazy. We need to sit with it so we can watch it, become the observer of it, and slowly release it out of our nervous system. See where in the body is this fear being located? Where in my system does this sit? Is it stuck? Where can I feel a contraction right now? Where does it feel like my body is not really listening? Or where does it feel like the fear is located? It always feels like it's somewhere in your chest, in your throat, in your solar plexus, in your sacral chakra area, somewhere in your heart, in your root chakra. It often depends on when the trauma appeared, when the original trauma happened. And as we sit with that fear and we start to breathe into the space where it is, you begin to create room for your muscles to relax, for your nerves to relax. And we're not just going to breathe like, we're going to take deep breaths. We're going to take deep, slow breaths. Real centering, relaxing breaths. that are truly helping us to release things out of our system. It's a beautiful practice of going deeper into ourselves. When we look at the original part of the trauma, we can look at ancestral healing and ancestral trauma. And there are certain groups that have a ton of cultural trauma involved as well. But when we look at our ancestral trauma in our own family of origin, our lineage, physical DNA, we can sometimes see that what we call the shadow, what we call, you could call it your demon if you want, is a heritage. It's a learned energy, something we picked up on when we were growing up. And depending on your situation, it may look a little different. But it's almost always a form of energy, fear, anger, negativity, rage, that one or both of your parents carried. And when they experienced that, when you were little, you might have been 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 7 years old, or 10. And they expressed their anger, they expressed their negativity. And we can also see how a lot of times parents of little children are under a lot of stress. And when we're under a lot of stress, a lot of our traumas get triggered and they come out. So it's very important, this is not a judgment. This is not to judge either our parents or ourselves, but it is to see, where does this come from? What is the origin of this and how do we sit with it? Because on certain levels of ancestral healing, it can be helpful, whether your parents are in their physical body or not. It can be very helpful to begin to heal their energy as well. And that doesn't have to be that they are aware of it. Or in my case, both my parents have moved on. They're in the energy field. And as I actually was sitting with my father trauma yesterday, I was realizing how deep it was. And I was realizing how thick it was. And how many traumatic things happened throughout his life. And I hadn't seen it as clearly before. I had seen a lot of things, but not as clearly. And yesterday when I had his agreement, I energetically connect with him, and I got his agreement that it was okay for me to work on his healing. And I sat with it. It was very deep. And that one of the fascinating things that happened, because I practice both Reiki and shamanic healing work. So I often, in these cases, I do a mix where I both do a Reiki work on them, but very much shamanic work, right? I go in and I heal my dad's energy, and I start to remove things out of his system. Things that got stuck in his lifetime on different parts of his body or mind or spirit energy. And as I saw that, I saw how heavy it was, and I saw how much it was. And it was really beautiful to sit and see how heavy that was. Because if you and I, we sit here in our healing, we're still embodied, we're still in physicality. We may sometimes see that our healing journey can be difficult, can be heavy. And sometimes, at least if you're like me, you realize that some of the trauma, some of the triggers are really deeply rooted. And even though we sit with, energy healing, sound healing, whatever healing methods you have been experiencing and going through, we still may sometimes see how it's attached in our system. And then I realized, what if you never got that healing while you were in the body? Imagine how much we can pull in over a lifetime, and how much pain that creates in the physical body. How much, when your energy body gets damaged or injured, or your emotional trauma gets really deep, it gets stuck in the physicality of a body as well. And if we think we had a lot, I often look at my parents and I'm like, oh, goodness, that was a lot. And the beauty of it is that we still get a chance to sit with it. Whether they are embodied or not, we get a chance to sit with healing their energy. And that kind of healing happens in what we can refer to as the quantum field, or the multidimensional universe, multidimensional reality, which, when we sit with that, we access a different state of awareness. We access a different frequency. And when we do, it becomes a lot easier to move in and experience whatever they were feeling or felt or are feeling. And as we heal the ancestral trauma, our fathers, our mothers, our grandparents down the line, at least my experience is that it's also healing my body, my physicality, and my energy field. So when I do the healing on my father, my body feels it too. And I feel a reaction. I feel a change. I feel a shift. I feel when I pull the weight off my dad, I feel it leaving my system too. So when we move into that space, and this is not to sound religious, but it dawned on me, this sentence, honor thy mother and thy father. Because what happens when we honor them in the energy field, we also honor ourselves. So if you hold them in light and you hold them in honor, you end up holding yourself in honor as well. Since we are a lineage and connection from that space down to ourselves, we are in the same lineage. So as we honor our mother and our father, we honor ourselves as well. And I found that to be a beautiful practice and a beautiful explanation of something that has always sounded so judgmental in my own world. It always sounded so negative. Honor them. And I was like, no, I don't like my parents. They were not nice, blah, blah, blah. And now when I'm sitting in deep sacred space, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we do need to honor them. Because it turns out we are honoring ourselves as well. That's right. Yep, Sierras and Sunsets. You're healing yourself when you're healing your father. Absolutely. And it's a beautiful part of this process, right? Because we're, at least in my experience and my understanding and the deepening of this journey, is that the deeper we go, the more some of the religious writings make sense. But not when they're coming from the judgmental place, when they're coming from a inner sacred space. Suddenly they make more sense. Almost like when I had my experience with Eckhart Tolle and the Power of Now, a lot of the different hymns and psalms and stuff sounded different to me because I was coming from a different energy field. So these shifts that happen as we go deeper into our energy, as we shift from an only egotistical, only selfish and fear-based type of existence, we're not sitting in judgment right now. It's more like when we're only living from that space of fear, everything can feel like an attack. And in my case, even hearing the words honor your mother and your father sounded like an attack on me because I felt so insulted. But as the healing journey kept going, it became easier to understand. Oh, they were just in their trauma state, just like I'm in my trauma state. And if I want forgiveness for my trauma state or my darker sides, my shadow behaviors, I'd like to give them the same benefit of a doubt. And also the same thing goes for when it comes to, in a way, turn the other cheek or love thy enemy. Much like honor your mother and your father, becomes honoring your mother and your father becomes realizing and recognizing their highest self, their highest state of being. Not the moments when they were acting out their trauma, not the moments when they were acting out their negative behaviors, their fear-based stuff, but the moments when you recognize that, oh, life force energy is coming through me, and it came through them to create me. And it's coming through me to create whatever else is going on here. So in that sense, loving thy enemy means I'm recognizing the deepest part of you. Turning the other cheek means I turn the other cheek because I recognize that when we're acting out our shadow side, our trauma, we're not coming from a space of higher consciousness. Or you could call it God if you prefer to call it that. You're not coming from that space when you're acting out your shadow sides, your fear, your negativity, right? So when my parents were acting out their pretty harsh traumas and experiences, they were absolutely not coming from any sense of higher self. And then what I learned was behaviors to protect myself from their dark sides. And in order to do that, I had to develop my own dark side. So then I see how my shadow was a direct result of me learning how to defend myself from other people's dark sides. And as we then grow in understanding and forgiveness and love, it becomes a lot easier to be like, oh, but when I sit in my higher state, I would never want to act out in any way, shape, or form close to how they acted when they were in their pain. I would never want to act that way. And I have acted in ways that were very, very not healthy, very angry, very negative, judgmental. And I'd like to not act that way because I'm absolutely not coming from any higher state of awareness, higher level of consciousness when the shadow has overtaken me. And the way I grew up, the shadow had overtaken them quite harshly and most of the time. So when we can see that, and now I've said it a million times this video, but then again, it becomes easier to honor who they are deep inside. Which in one way, loosely translated, not exactly translated, I know it's not exactly translated, but loosely translated, namaste could mean, I honor the light in you. I recognize the light in you as I recognize the light in me. Or what they call advaita, or non-duality, which is a way of looking at the world where try to follow this. Sometimes it's not easy, sometimes it's super easy to get it. What's observing you through my eyes is the same that's observing me through your eyes. What's looking at you through my eyes is the same consciousness that's looking at me through your eyes. In a way that we could say is namaste, or we could say advaita, the non-self. And all these concepts are beautiful. And they're very, very powerful. And of course, when we're in a triggered state and we're busy defending our sense of self, busy defending this idea of Marcus, whatever that might mean, I'm not really in that state. But as I come back home, understanding, oh, but hang on, deep inside of each one of us, we have that idea of God, or we have that idea of the universe, or the universal consciousness, energy flow, core energy coming through you. And that's coming through everyone. So, in a way, we're swimming in a sea of life, the ocean of life. All the plants, all the animals, all the birds, the four-footed, the two-legged, the creepers and the crawlers, the winged, the finned. Grandmother Moon. No matter what the moon might be, we when we access these deep level of consciousness, we become aware of truths that are much deeper than our modern understanding. And there are many teachings in indigenous cultures, in old shamanic traditions, or in the old mythos of the Sumerians, or any one of the older cultures or religions out there, that have understood things about the universe, about the planets, about the direction of the sun, direction of the different planets. They have understood things that modern science is still discovering. But the deeper spiritual teachings have known it for thousands of years. Thousands of years, this knowledge has been here. And in our modern day society, we want proof. So we're getting some proof every now and then. Every now and then, new ideas pop up that are really they've already been here for a long time. And the more we dive into the old Navajo teachings, or the old Sumerians, or the old anyone and African deep knowings, the Aborigines in Australia, or the shamans of Tibet and Siberia, or the Norse, where I'm from, there's so much of the knowings that they have that are now being discovered or rediscovered by science. I think it's fascinating. So, we're going to go into our healing session. And if you have related to anything that I have shared about your shadow and about the releasing of it, if you have been triggered today or yesterday, or if you have felt like maybe you've lived in your triggers for a while, this could be a time to begin to release it. We're not going to try to completely remove the shadow. There's no use. Maybe there is a reason, and maybe we can fully release it, but if you try to force it, it most likely will just swing back around, and we're not going at it from a healthy point of view. Your shadow will release when it's ready, when you're ready. But today, we're going to create space so you can sit in your higher level of consciousness and see when the shadow comes up. See and recognize, oh, there's my shadow. Oh, there's my fear. There's my anger. There's my negativity. There's my lower vibration behaviors. When we can see that, it becomes easier to track where in the body is it stuck. So we're going to do that now. I invite you to kind of focus back in. Move your attention and your awareness into yourself. Take a few deep breaths. Feel into the energy field. Sink into your body. Open up your heart a bit. Unfold your heart. And then sink deeper into your body. Sink into the solar plexus, then into the sacral chakra area, and then into the root chakra area. Let your breath take you into your body. And then feel Or envision yourself growing roots into Earth Mother. Feel these roots taking place. And as these roots are connecting into Earth Mother, to the energy of life, we are also expanding our energy field to Father Sun, Father Sky, and Grandmother Moon. And with this connection happening, I also want you to expand your energy field, your bubble. Envision this bubble of energy, bubble of light, bubble of multiple colors expanding around you. With each breath, it gets a little deeper. Keep that breath going into your system. Maybe you can feel into your system where your shadow might be connected. Hmm. Ask your higher self, ask your guide to reveal to you your shadow and to help you create space within you. Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murataye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murataye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murataye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Welcome back into the room, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Sit with the full moon. Sit with Grandmother Moon. Feel the energy. Thank you, Johnny Neal. Thank you, brother. Thank you, everybody who was on here. Thank you, LEK, Sierras and Sunsets, Glenn Diller. Thank you, everyone. Trenton Shine. So nice to see you on here, Trenton. Thank you, Sierras and Sunset. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it's a love bath. You're right. It is a love bath. Yes, correct term. I wish you a beautiful week. Going to finish up with the Tingshas. And I'm going to say thank you, namaste, and aho. See you soon again. Bye, everybody.